Hey guys, Miss Kellogg here with your review for your 1.06 quiz. Studying artworks from various historical perspectives helps us understand them better. Study the painting Madame Matisse, The Green Line. What questions do you have about this painting or the artist? Art history helps us answer questions like those you might be asking. Historical approaches to art increases our understanding of works of art. Artworks can be studied historically, aesthetically, and critically. And you can click over here. Here's where you get your student guide. Historical approaches to art criticism. As you read through the lesson, historical approaches to art criticism, art history. Art is a window through which we see past societies, custom, and events. We learn about works of art by way of different approaches. One approach is historical. Art history is the study of the contributions artists and the art make to the culture and society, and the study of the development of art throughout time and place. By studying the history of art, we better understand the people and cultures from different times and places. We learn what a culture valued by studying what's that culture's art. We appreciate different ideas people have had. A painting such as Marriage of the Virgin by Raphael Sanzio, for example, reflects many ideas and values from the artist's culture at the time he created the painting. Period. In a historical approach to art, we group works of art with similar characteristics into periods, civilizations, or styles. Grouping works together illustrates the importance of art through time and helps us to see how art reflects and sometimes influences what happens in the world. Period refers to the years during which a particular culture or society created works of art. For example, Raphael Sanzio's Marriage of the Virgin is from the Renaissance period, which occurred during the late 15th century and the 16th centuries. The Renaissance began in Italy and then spread to other European countries. Period can also refer to a distinct stage in the way an individual artist creates works of art. For example, an early period may be described as highly realistic and a later period as fantasy. Civilization. Civilization is a stage of social development of a particular period characterized by the building of cities. Civilization is possible when people have a surplus of food and there is a division of labor. Civilization is marked by advances in knowledge and skills in areas such as technology, politics, and the arts. A Greek sculptor named Polykleitos made Spear Bearer about 2,500 years ago. Polykleitos lived during the classical Greek civilization. The sculptor is also known by his Latin name, Doryphorus. Style. Style refers to the manner of expression that distinguishes the work of an artist or several artists working at a particular time or place. Style is the look of an artist's work or how she makes it when a group of artists work in the same style. They share a similar vision or work in a similar way. Claude Monet worked in a style called Impressionism. Impressionist artists worked during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The style began in France with a small group of artists who shared similar ideas of how artists should work. Art history methods. Art historians study art using a variety of methods. They commonly study artworks within the work's historical context, documenting the artist's names, periods, dates of creation, places of origin, styles, subject matter, and patrons. Art historians develop timelines as a visual way to organize works and artists by date according to period, civilization, and style. A historical approach. A historical approach to art considers the political, religious, and social events that happen at the time and place a work of art was created. Knowing the historical background helps answer questions related to the context surrounding the work of art. For example, questions about Claude Monet and Water Lily's Pond, Harmony in Pink might include these. Why and how did Monet create this particular work? Who were Monet's teachers and how did they influence his style? Where was this artwork meant to be displayed and who was meant to see it? How did historical events influence the way Monet worked and in turn, how did Monet's work influence society? Historical approach to art criticism. Characteristics of classical Greek art. Using a historical approach to group work of art helps us answer questions like these. Who makes a Greek sculpture a Greek sculpture? Or what makes a Renaissance painting a Renaissance painting? Let's look at characteristics of representative works for ancient to modern times. Examine this sculpture on screen. What questions might you ask about it from a historical approach? What characteristics make it a classical Greek sculpture? Polycletus made spear bearer during the classical Greek civilization, which spanned 508 BC to 323 BC, and the Greeks valued youth and beauty. Greek artists depicted athletes and mythological figures and sculpted idealized physical fit figures. Statues of the human form, even when a figure is in motion, are perfectly balanced in realistic natural positions. Greek artists also paid tribute to the human body by creating nudes. The ancient Greek physician Galen regarded spear bearer as the perfect visual expression of harmony and beauty. This is that contrapposto position. Characteristics of Renaissance art. What can we learn about the society in which Raphael lived by looking at Marriage of the Virgin? What Italian Renaissance characteristics does it exhibit? Based on the biblical subject matter, the marriage of the Virgin Mary to Joseph, we might consider the role that religion played in the Italian Renaissance society. The Catholic Church and private patrons commonly commissions artists to depict religious subjects. Like other Italian Renaissance artists, Raphael studied the human body so that he could paint it in perfect proportion. He added shading to give figures a sense of real form. He created a deep sense of space using a scientific method called perspective. Renaissance also shows the influence of classical Greek art. Figures have classical beauty and architecture has simple beauty, proportion, and symmetry. Characteristics of Japanese architecture. Himeji Castle, 1601-1609, sits high on the hill above the plains near Osaka, Japan. From a historical approach, we might ask what political, social, and religious events were taking place during that period to necessitate the building of such a large, strong structure. During that period, European traders and missionaries were arriving in Japan, and European warfare techniques were introduced. In response to the arrival of cannons and muskets, the Japanese began building monumental castles. Like other Japanese architects, those that designed Himeji Castle used a rectangular plan and placed upward curves as the corners of the roof, giving the structure graceful lines. Used the magnifier to explore the castle details. You can explore that up here. Impressionist art. How might we take a historical approach to the painting by Claude Monet? In the late 19th century, a group of painters, including Claude Monet, broke away from the French Academy in Paris, which exhibited works only in the style the Academy approved, works with a sense of realism. Monet's group, called Impressionists, painted outdoors and used rapid, loose brushstrokes to quickly capture a scene before the light changed. They didn't try to paint realistically. After all, if you wanted a realistic picture of something, you could take a photograph with a camera. Invented during Monet's time, Impressionists opened the door for artists to try bold new ideas. You can explore that up here. Historical approaches to art criticism. Characteristics in Fauvre art. Many groups of artists have broken from the tradition to experiment with this new styles, Henri Matisse helped create Fauvism, a short-lived style in France during the first decade of the 20th century. Characteristics of Fauvism, as seen in Madame Matisse, the green line, include bold, wild brushstrokes, shockingly bright colors, and simplified forms and figures. How might we consider Madame Matisse, the green line, from a historical approach? We could mention that in 1905, Villot's painting was completed. A group of young painters under the leadership of Matisse so shocked art critics with their style that one critic nicknamed the Fauves, which meant wild beasts in French. Explore the listed activities on the following screen to review what you've learned in this lesson, and you can do that here, scrolling through. You can also do this lesson here. You also have these questions. Think of a question based on historical approach to understanding the architecture of Himeji Castle, then use a historical approach to hypothesize these answers to you. Characteristics of periods, civilizations, and styles, describing distinguishing characteristics of Polycletus' spear bearer that identify it as a classical Greek sculpture. How do those characteristics help you better understand the classical Greek civilization? Comparing works based on style, describe two differences in the style of Raphael's Marriage and the Virgin and Matisse's Madame Matisse, the green line. How does each piece style indicate that the works were made during different periods? What, if any, similarities do you see in these particular works? That's all we have for this section. I'll see you guys in the next video.